Hello everyone, this is Boardgames and Bourbon. I'm Glenn Flaherty again, and I want to show you now Dino World, which is a roll and write just put out by Alleycat Games. Now, in short, what you're really looking at is a game that plays kind of like Jurassic Park, the roll and write. It has a lot of variability in it. You have both an easier mode, a harder modes within a harder mode, optional things, at least in this variation, that has public objectives, aquatic life, aviaries, regular dinosaurs, lab work that you can do, a solo mode that comes with its own cards and die, and something I've never seen in a game before, which is they give you an eraser. Now, what do you do in the game and how long is this supposed to play? It says it plays in 40 to 70 minutes, but all my games have been a lot faster than that. And what you're trying to do in the game is you are trying to, over 8 rounds, build pens to hold different dinosaurs. You are going to roll die, and then you're going to assign your die. And what's going to happen is you're going to get a pad of paper like this, which I really love the graphic work they've done on it. They really try to bring it alive for you. They even have these little dinosaurs here, and then they have pictures you can draw, and you can identify all the dinosaurs a few different ways. One, all the dinosaurs will either eat leaves, and it'll have a leaf, or it'll eat meat, and it has a little blood on there. But also, all the ones who eat leaves are on 4 legs. All the ones that eat meat are on 2 legs. But you can also identify them by the letter. So when I'm drawing pens, I'm actually usually putting the letter in there to help identify them too. Now, when you roll these dice, you're going to get a set of numbers. Like here, I have a 4, and a 3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to build pathways, and I'm going to try to build pens that score me goals. Now, how do you decide what your goals are in the game? Well, that's where these cards come into play here. Assuming for a second we're not going to play with the solo deck, which really just gives you scoring criterion for another player, as if another player was there. What you're going to do to set up the game is the following. You are going to grab a bunch of visitor cards, and these essentially really are your scoring criteria for the game. And you put 3 between any number of players that you have, okay? And so what are things that they'll say? They'll say things like this. It'll say for 10 points, you will get this 10 points if you build 5 facilities of any type, okay? And if you're the first person to do that, you get this card and it's worth 10 points. Well, what is a facility? Well, a facility is like this. And on your turn, you can assign a die that says 1, 2, or 3 to build this card. And this says you must connect a path to a facility. In this case, you're drawing a triangle. And it says you're going to get 3 points if this is adjacent to the lake, in the center of your board is a lake, and 1 point otherwise, okay? Something else you could do is a 0-shaped card. Looks like I have all my triangles on top. Here's one that's 0, or Q, I should say. And it has 4, 5, and 6 could be applied here. Now, you can modify the dice too. That's an ability. And what this says is a containment unit. In danger mode, which is the harder variant, okay, max 1 unit. If adjacent to a pen, when you draw your pens, like a Tyrannosaurus Rex here, if you're adjacent to a pen and it is destroyed, it captures a dino from that pen, mark the building with a tick, 5 points if a carnivore is captured. If an herbivore is captured, 1 point. Otherwise, 3 points for an herbivore. So there's 100 conditions here, okay? And what I mean by that is just a lot. And they're going to make sense in the context of the game once you get rolling. But essentially, you have these facilities that score you points. You also have these cards that score points. Now, if you do it first, you get it. If you both do it in the same round, you turn it sideways, and it kind of became neutral for both of you. It can help you maybe in a 4-player game. You're also going to have public objectives, depending on the model you have, and essentially it's more scoring opportunities. It says here, all generators used, you'll get 12 points, 7 points. When you build cages for carnivores, you also have to power the cage, and the cages are worth 2 points at the end of the game, and you tick them off as you use them. Also, depending as you play the game, you'll get special powers you might activate. you'll look on this board here, what it says is you have 3 chances to use an X power. It says when you build a pen, it can be 1 square smaller or larger. That is important because some cards will say if you build a facility next to a large pen, you get points, but maybe you need it to be smaller to fit more in. You can use a Y power twice, and it shows both facilities and says you can build 2 facilities in 1 round. Normally, when you build things, you can only build 1 at a time, and something like Z, you can only do once. And what this says here is power regulator. Ignore any damage you take, okay? And I'll explain damage in a second. You also have the option either separately or collectively to build aquatic life or to build aviaries. And aviary, or we'll do aquatic life first. Basically, you can apply a 1 die, a 2 die, or a 3 die here. And you can build different types of aquatic life. If you have 2 the same, you score, or multiples of the same, you score these different points. 3, then 7, then 12, then 18 at the end. Wow, that's pretty great. And if you have a set of 3 different ones, you get 16 points. Aviaries are a little different. In this case, like a large one, you have to either apply 3 dice of the same type or consecutive, like a 4, a 5, and a 6. You build this large aviary, but then you get to add 1 aviary per turn to it, and each one is worth 2 points. In this case, what do we have here? We have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you have a total of 18 points you could score there. So this is a good card at the beginning of the game. Well, what are all the options you can do in your board? Well, when you roll your die, you apply them. Now, you could use any of those cards. You could also apply them to build these different animals, right? Like you can build this first one here, the Protoceratops. If you roll 1, 2, or 3, it's going to take up 3 units. Okay, if you do the next animal, you can use a 2, 3, or 4. It'll only take up 2 squares, but it does require power, it says. If you're going to do that, you can tick off one of these power units. Power units are things in the game that will supply either 1 power to a unit in the easy mode, or it will supply up to 4 in the advanced mode. So if I rolled a 2 and I was going to build this, let's just say I would do this. I'd mark off a space. I would do my little squiggly drawing because I'm amazing at art. I'm also going to write a C there so I know what it is. It says it needs to be powered. I'm going to put a little power unit here. And in the advanced mode, it can hook up to 4 things to it. I'm only using 1, okay? So I can build an animal, and then I can build a pathway. Some of the scoring cards in the game say use a pathway. I can build a facility. I can only do 1 of each of these, okay? I can use research powers. And then I can build security. That's pretty important, okay? So when I build security, I increase my security because it helps defend against bad things happening. I built a, what is this called? A Compsognathus. Let's just pretend I said that right. It is a meat eater. Meat eaters raise my threat level by 2, okay? But my security is 1. There's a difference of 1 there. After I have built as much as I can, that's all different using my dice, I roll 1 die, beep, 5. Okay, so that says 5. Well, 5 plus 1, the difference between my security and my threat is 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. And if we look at my threat tracker here, what it says is, if there's a difference of 6, all my level 4 power supplies are blown. And I know it's number 4 because right here on this edge, it says there's 4 leads coming off of it. At a level 9, it would blow all my level 3s, my level 4s, my level 3s, my level 2s, and my level 1s. Should something blow, you basically just cross out one part of the cage. And should something happen again and you blow that second part of the cage, then you've lost that animal towards your scoring criterion. Okay, now, why would I not want to use all my power? Well, the more power I use, the less scoring opportunity, because each of these are worth 2 at the end of the game. Why would I never want to raise my security levels? Because it is optional. I can raise my security either for free, 1 unit, or I can apply a die and I can raise it 2 units. But as you can see, the security is also numbered. So the more security that I leave not used, I'm actually going to score that in victory points. After 8 rounds in the game, you're going to score 3 points for the Protoceratops. You're going to score 6 points for the Compsognathus. you're going to score, or I should say 6 points for that. You're going to score 4 points for the Stegosaurus. You're going to score 8 points for the Velociraptor. You're going to score 5 points for the Brontosaurus, and you're going to score 10 points for the Tyrannosaurus Rex there. Okay, and then you're going to have bonuses, whatever your facilities say, whatever claimed visitor cards you get, like this card here. If I completed it before anyone else, I get it. Various other things that might occur in the game, and it just depends how these other cards play out, and then you add it together. Well, I got to tell you, the game actually played pretty quickly. The challenge of the game is that there's a lot to look at, and the thrust of the play is really a timed race to complete these visitor cards. And you're also going to look through the cards for different synergies. Like, for instance, when I had my facility cards, okay, some of these would say, you're going to score a lot of points if you have 4 Stegosaurus pins on the board. And then a visitor card said if you had 5 vegetable eaters, herbivores, you would score. So you would try to combine building, a Stegosaurus and an herbivore and complete it, and they would work together. So sometimes your goals would really come through, but sometimes it didn't. Okay, so it's a race between the cards, trying to find the synergies. You're tracking a lot of things, and you're applying your dice in different ways. Now, the way the autonoma works basically is you roll whatever, you get 4 die, and whatever die you don't use is going to be applied to a card. If I apply a card or a die to the card that's a 1, 2, or 3, this side is face up, and this essentially is saying that the AI player got all of these attributes. And then if I applied a 4, 5, or 6 leftover die, they would get these attributes. And sometimes these attributes, again, will trigger these cards. So you're kind of debating what you want to do in order to prevent the AI from scoring more from you. And the AI is actually a really great mode to play, and I've enjoyed it a lot. Well, I will say I'm about 12 games into this so far, mostly by myself, but I've played it 2-player with my wife. Again, you put 3 of these players between everyone, but when there's 2 players, you basically put 6 between 2 people. And it's been a good time. The involvement in it is probably more along the lines of fleet dice. But once you understand it, I'd say it moves really rapidly, and it's actually not that hard. It's a good time, a great change of pace. The artwork that they've put into it is top-notch. The variability really is incomparable to any other game. I've never seen one that has so many, not only 2 different pads, this is the advanced, and this can take the solo mode. This is just easier. It doesn't really deal with security at all. It just sells build pass. You get 2 points per a power generator. Each power generator is +2. And then you can do research, and this will add +1 or -1 to your die to really help you out. That's a fun mode if people are new or you're playing with a lot of people. And I gotta tell you, it's another great one. The crop that's been coming out recently has really been top notch. So if you are interested in another roll and write, Dino World gets my thumbs up. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Again, ask me questions about gameplay. Happy to answer, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.